So I started my own drafting company, and here's everything that I did wrong within it and what you should do if you're going to start your own today. So my old drafting company was called Bulldog Drafting, LLC. It was a very generic, just overview drafting LLC, and all it really was me freelancing to try to make some money on the side in college. Now, I would work on a bunch of different projects. I worked for a rifle company, a battery company, anything I could get my hands on. Residential sheds, land surveys, the whole 9 yards. And all it was really a funnel for me to take business in and start filtering it as like a business entity. That's pretty much all it was. Now, here's some problems that I had within this first company that I later solved in the next company that I made, landsurveydrafts.com. So being that it was called Bulldog Drafting, I had so many services that I was doing within this one structure that I really didn't define myself into a niche. So when I went to go reach out for marketing purposes, everybody I reached out to was a little confused. Some of them even asked me, they said, Bulldog Drafting, a terrible name, but also, are you, a fan of the Georgia Bulldogs? Did you graduate from University of Georgia? I mean, everyone had those questions for me when I had this, but in reality, I just named it after my favorite type of dog, which I grew up with. I had an English Bulldog when I was younger, as well as now a French Bulldog. So again, too many services, no niche to really put my business inside of. Again, my business didn't actually solve a problem. I had people that would come to me, I would, drum up business, and like any company that hires an employee, what they're doing is they're actually solving a problem that already exists. Good companies nowadays, they'll try to, solve it beforehand, but for the most part, they wait until the problem is, festering and actively there before they need to make that change. If you're coming in, you're offering your business, the best way to make money and leverage is obviously solving a problem for somebody. This was just generic drafting, so it did not do that. And as well as it wasn't scalable. The problem with it is that I had too many services. I couldn't focus on one, so therefore I can't hire employees to actively tackle those tasks. So no way to scale up my business. The naming scheme doesn't really make any sense, and my branding was just off. I just had an email with a little logo underneath it. I didn't really have a website. At one point I did. It was terrible. I don't even have photos of it anymore. But being able to modify, what I learned there and take it to my next business is what really got me success. So everything within this, bubble right here, I call these my business problems, which are my hard issues. So these are issues that I could fix as an individual towards the business. This is just something about the business that has something wrong with it and that could get modified. Now down here, I'm going to call it my problems or my soft skill issues. So this is issues that I had as a person when I was coming into this business. Now, you should treat your life just like a business. You have quarters, you have deadlines, you have things to get done. And if you don't structure your life like one, your business is definitely not going to follow suit. So I wasn't tracking metrics or operating like a business. I had no real, I didn't have QuickBooks. I didn't have any way of determining, clients coming in or out. Now with social media, I track KPIs. But before that, I didn't do anything like that. So, kind of shot in the dark. I would just reach out to somebody. I had no way of really following up. No system or processes in place to operate like a business. And I myself wasn't doing that either. I was just working day to day. Next thing, I didn't have any mentorship. If you're going to have a business, you need to have a mentor. This is the only way to not make the mistakes that somebody else has. It's the fastest way. You pay a little bit of money. You get somebody in who is more knowledgeable than you. They don't even have to be 10 years of wealth ahead of you and knowledge. They can just be 6 months, a year ahead, and it's going to solve 6 months to a year of headache that you're going to be figuring it out on your own. So if you want to take the step from where you are now to where you want to be, you need to fill in the gaps as fast as possible, and the best way to do that is either paying for mentorship or asking some old guy to to work under him for free. Whatever you have to do, you need to get some sort of mentorship in business. Especially in the modern landscape, you probably want to go with someone who's younger. Legacy businesses just don't cut it because all of their practices are old and antiquated, and everything that they're going to do isn't going to reflect with how you need to start your business today in 2024. And finally, I wasn't really invested. This was just kind of a way to me, to make some money on the side, and it was more of a side project or hobby. So it wasn't my full-time gig, and I wasn't truly going to invest the time or the money into doing it. My newest businesses, obviously, I have a mentor for them, as well as full investment into doing what I like and making sure that this thing happens, as well as operating it and running like a business. I track the things that I need to track, and I do things to deadline that need to get done. So here's a little bit of an overview of what I've changed from this old business to this new one. For my social media, I have proper branding. I have a niche that I target. So obviously I go after people who want to change their lives with drafting. They know CAD skills and they need to operate inside of a newer medium in order to make money. And so I translate people's skills from AutoCAD. I teach them land surveying and I help them go get a job or start their own business. And so I have a very simple call to action at the top of my YouTube page, and it's just for social media, and it's very straightforward. You know exactly who I am and what I do. I will save land surveying. Straight and pretty simple. So you know exactly what I stand for and what I don't, as well as there's a picture of my face. As far as my business for landsurveydrafts.com, it's pretty streamlined. It looks professional. It has everything that it needs and nothing that it doesn't, and it has a very simple and straightforward call to action. Streamline your surveying process with professional CAD services. Fairly simple and straightforward. So this is why when a client comes to your page, they know exactly what they're getting, unlike my old business where they didn't know what I was doing. In fact, I didn't really know what I was doing. So this is how you should structure your new business. You have your new drafting business, right? Whatever it's called, whatever, drafting. And I recommend you don't actually use the word, drafting and whatever that might be. I obviously have landsurveydrafts.com, but it's very obvious what it is. So name it after that, and you need to stick to one niche. If you're doing architecture, just do architecture. If you're doing land survey, just do land surveying. But make it catchy and make it where it's very obvious what you do. Don't name it after some scheme or anything like that. Does solve a problem. So your business needs to solve a problem. The best way to solve a problem is obviously with consulting, because you can directly go to somebody and say, hey, you have this problem, right? Yes? Well, I have a way to fix it. That's exactly what my program does as well. You have a problem. Okay. I don't know, how to make money with my current skills that I have in CAD. Okay, great. I do. So I take you 16 weeks and I get you knowing the land survey system, and then from there, helping you get a job or freelance clients. So I solve a problem. Very specific, very niche. And it's scalable, okay? Any business should be scalable. Landsurveydrafts.com, at one point I had 7 employees, and I was able to build up my repertoire by getting more clients and more jobs and eventually teaching people how to do that. Best way to acquire clients for drafting, go to the colleges. If you can go to a college, there's an engineering program probably there, and all those guys know how to do CAD. So if you can teach them the specific field that you're in, it doesn't take that long. Set up a good template, make sure that it's straightforward for them to follow, and make simple rules and processes. So you basically have like an if-then table. If you see this on the drawing, then do that. And just keep doing that as many times as possible until the drawing's finished. And someone who's competent in drafting should be able to get that done. Have a good website, okay? Make sure it's sleek, straightforward, simple. I use WordPress for a lot of my websites. I think the actual plugin that I use is Elementor. And then from there, I just host it for free. So actually, no, it's not hosting for free. It's like $4 a month. It's basically nothing. And so do your hosting. I think I use HostGator.com. I don't use GoDaddy. But HostGator is a good website to host a website like that, and it's a little bit cheaper. But your domain name should exactly match your company name, and it doesn't matter if it's a little bit longer. You don't need to strive for something that's super short, because as long as it's concise in what you do, that's good enough to convey your message. As well, have the good messaging. Make that apparent in your website as well as your title. I don't know why I have that twice in here, but yeah, have a good message. And so your clients know exactly what it is that you do. And this is basically everything that I would change around, or that I did change from my first drafting business, Bulldog Drafting, and what you should then translate into your newer one. So hopefully that helps. This is kind of a live and raw cut version of my explanation of what goes on my head for taking my old drafting business, revamping it, and what you should now do. Thanks.